Oh, look at that. So now you can see that the onions... Hello and welcome to thelondonbiker.com. In our second in the new series of cooking videos, we are going to do something with noodles. Now, we've not done noodles before, but they're incredibly easy and they're universal. They're so easy to get everywhere. Now, noodle-wise, you've got some options. There are super noodles, and there are various associated noodles. Now, I'm not having a go at super noodles. These things put me through university. However, you can get rather better noodles. Sharwood's do some. All over the world you can get better noodles than super noodles. These are 60 pence a pack, and frankly these are expensive at 60 pence a pack. These are well, significantly more than 60 pence a pack, but it's worth it for the money. They take about 4 minutes to boil, and in fact let's have a look at the boiling now. I appreciate that this isn't particularly interesting, but we've got these boiling in the new MSR pan. They take about 4 minutes. Once they've been in there a minute, just break them up. We want them nice and loose. We don't want the noodles to come out in one block for obvious reasons. Now, what you'll notice about this pan is we have the MSR heat exchanger. Now, this heat exchanger reflects the heat that's being taken out from the side of the pan back in, and that in turn helps the water boil faster. Saves the amount of fuel that you need, and lots of other things. I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in with these noodles, otherwise they're going to be lacking a little bit of flavour. There we go. Now, this is actually a very simple recipe. It's another one from the Horizons Unlimited gang, and I just want to say, Horizons Unlimited, guys on the cooking thread, you rock. Thank you very much for all the recipe suggestions. This is another one from Peter in Oslo. Now, you may remember Peter in Oslo. He was the chap that gave me the recipe for the chicken that we did in Australia on the beach. And Peter writes, lovely thread. So many times I've been too tired to make boring food and ended up being bitterly disappointed eating rubbish in bad restaurants. That is why we do this series, to show how easy it is to cook on the road. Oh, the heat exchange is good. We're boiling over. Now we get to test how good the simmer control is on the MSR Dragonfly. Let's turn that right down. There we are. They take about 4 minutes to boil, so we should be done. Peter goes on to say, Matt, if you read the small print in my chicken recipe, you will see that you should only use 1 teaspoon of sand, not great big handfuls. You're being wasteful and extravagant. For me, camp cooking should also be quick, so try this. It's Wokkerd Noodles for 2 persons. 2 packs of dried noodles, pay a bit more for better quality. Well, Peter, I followed your advice there. 1 onion chopped, 2 cloves of garlic sliced, ginger, 1 can of wok veg or fresh chopped, oil, meat, whatever you can find in thin slices, and chili powder. Boil the noodles up, take them out, leave them rest, and then put in your stir-fried veg. We're going to start with the veg, and I'm going to use salami for my meat. The meat we're going to use for today's recipe is salami. Now, I've just got this from the deli down the road, and I use salami like I use chorizo. It's great because it's preserved and you can just take it on the road and it's with you all the time, and you can have it with bread and wine and cheese, and it's a wonder meat as far as I'm concerned. But you can just get some strips of chicken, as Peter suggested last time, or you could just do it without meat. And I realise I'm going a bit vegetarian in this new series of videos, but bear with me. I promise the next one will have shed loads of meat. Now, I don't promise that because I think the next one's vegetarian as well, but we'll come back to it. So, this is a stir fry. Now, with a stir fry, of course, the important thing is that everything is as thin as possible. So you can see the carrots there already cut quite thinly. The pepper I'm going to cut up. Now, I'm only doing this for 1 person, so I'm not going to use as much veg as perhaps Pete has suggested. But we want things as small and as light as possible because we need them to cook as quickly as possible. Now, for a stir fry, when it comes to oil, you've of course heard me talking about olive oil before, and it was recommended that perhaps we didn't wish to use olive oil because it doesn't fry at high temperatures very well and it loses taste, and it can in fact be bad for you. We've had some people come back to us and say that that isn't in fact true, that all it does is actually damage the taste, and it certainly isn't bad for you and you shouldn't be worried about it. However, in this case, I'm not using olive oil, not for those reasons, But because for a stir fry, when I'm doing something at particularly high temperature, I actually prefer, I'm just chopping up the garlic here. Now I'm going to crush it rather than chop it. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very straightforward. Leave the paper on, knife, crush with the flat of the blade. You'll find all the covering, all the skin will come off nicely. So we do want that bit of green, we'll get rid of that. Give it another bit of a crush, and then just chop it up as finely as we can. Now going back to the oil that we are using today is nut oil. Now I'm using nut oil for the flavour rather than the detriment of anything else. Here's my veg, my garlic. We'll just do some salami. Now actually I don't want very much salami in this. Just enough to give it a bit of taste. That's probably enough. Nice and thin. And in fact, just to aid it a little bit more, I'm going to do it into very thin strips like this. Now you'll notice that I've used carrot again, and I used carrot in the last recipe we did. It's a I want to say a misunderstood vegetable, but I'm not quite sure you can have a misunderstood vegetable, but carrots are misunderstood. They're brilliant in stir fries. They're brilliant in cases where you just need to put a little bit of heat through them. They are not to be boiled for half an hour just for your Sunday lunch. They've got a hell of a lot of flavour in them, especially if you get them from, you've grown them yourself, or you're getting them from a good supermarket, not Tesco's, for example. I promised I wouldn't get on to Tesco's, my friends, when we were talking about supermarkets, but I will. They're evil. They're really, really evil. Don't shop there. Go anywhere else. All right. Now let's have a look at these noodles. They've been going for about 4 minutes. We don't want to overdo the noodles. In fact, I would say they are done. You don't want them too starchy. You don't want them overdone at all. Drain them off, which of course is really easy with these MSR pans. So we're just going to come over here. The MSR pan to drain. Look at that, straight out. Notice the lid has got a rubber handle, which makes it incredibly easy to drain. No more trying to hold it and burning your hands. Give them a little bit of a shake. You can see there's still a load of water in there. We want to get rid of all of that because we want these to sit there. Now ideally you would drain these and clean them with some freshly boiled water, but we're not going to have that opportunity on the road, so we're just going to... Now if you want to do strictly one pan cooking, you can, and the way you would do that is just put these out in a block. Now, so I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to get my, sorry I'm bouncing you around the place, but I'm just going to get my pan. I'm going to pop my noodles in there, and I'm just going to grab the lid, which I'll just put down here. I'm just going to put those to one side and keep them warm. Now we have our pan with our heat exchanger. I've got my nut oil. Let's get it back on there. We want this to be really going now. We want a really nice high heat. Don't be afraid to put plenty of oil in there. Get it up nice, and let's get that oil buzzing along. Now, spice wise for this dish, while this just heats up, I'm just going to use a little bit of paprika and some, perhaps not some salt actually, because we've got some salt noodles, maybe just some pepper. Now we've got this going. Come down and have a look at this. It's really hot now. When we put these vegetables in, they're really going to go. Listen to that. That's how you know you've got the heat right. That searing sound. Let those go. A little bit of, let's give it a little bit of bite. And I'm going to put in a little bit of chili powder. Chili powder is going in all my recipes at the moment. Don't ask me why. Now, whilst that's cooking through at high heat, this is a really good opportunity to open a can of beer, or a bottle of wine, or have a cup of tea, or Can you tell I'm filling? I think that's nearly done. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. So now you can see that the onions, you can see that they've started to take the colour of the spices that have gone in there. We can see that the salami has browned off. Perfect. Let's grab our noodles. And we put those in there earlier on. They're still nice and hot. Whack them in. Toss it all about. And then I think we can probably turn the MSR off. Oh, and you've still got that beautiful sound. And there we have it. Into the plate. Wokkerd Noodles for two by Peter in Oslo on Horizons Unlimited. Sir, you are a gent and a scholar. Hopefully I've done this one a little bit better than I did the chicken in Australia. And let's give it a taste. Oh, I love noodles. Now we're also going to do a recipe in a few videos time using beans. It's another thing we haven't used, but you can do some brilliant things with beans. Let's give this a go. Now, I talked about the carrot, and it's the carrot that's coming through in here. The noodles, they're not starchy. We drained them properly. They're loose, individual noodles. They're not coming up as one block. And the salami, haven't overdone the meat. It would be so tempting to put an entire chunk of salami in this recipe with these noodles. And really, you don't need it. The other brilliant thing about cooking on the road, of course, is that when you're eating things like noodles and spaghetti and things that get messy, doesn't matter, no one can see you. Thanks for watching thelondonbiker.com. If you've got recipes, put them up on the cooking thread on Horizons Unlimited /hub, or I would prefer, of course, come to thelondonbiker.com and leave a message, or in fact leave a comment right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'm not using the sound for this bit though.